greatest amateur fighter in boxing history, winning 396 fights with only one defeat, while capturing 2 world championships and 2 Olympic gold medals. Now, as a professional, he's already captured 2 world titles. Dane Gospoda oder German, Ukraine, the 2-time world champion, uniting, defending, WBO super featherweight champion of the world, Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko.
Chronological order, because a lot of stuff happened this weekend. We'll start with the main event this past Friday, April 12th, between Vasily Lomachenko and Anthony Crolla at the Staples Center for Lomachenko's 135-pound championships, right? He has 2 of them. 4th round knockout?
4th
round, right?
Yeah. We kind of, I think I predicted like 5th round.
Yeah, you're kind of on point.
Kind of on point. Anthony Crolla, tough dude. I mean, tough dude. You get in there with the best.
He took a lot of hits.
Mm-hmm. And he's a tough guy. Hung in there. Just, dude, Loma's just on a different level.
Is this what you expected? Since you said 5 rounds.
Yeah, something along them lines. Something along them lines. We did know that Lomachenko had that shoulder injury. So I was like, it might go 7, 8.
That was my biggest question, and obviously we got the answers to that, right?
Yeah.
Because in the 3rd round, he scored what Jack Reese called a knockdown, right? And it was after a series of right hooks. But that was my question before the fight. How is his injured shoulder? Well, was injured, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be good now. How is that shoulder going to react? And we saw in the 3rd round he got a knockdown, right?
Yeah. Which was almost. I thought it was a knockout.
He thought so as well.
He obviously thought it was, because like the way Jack Reese jumped in, it was like almost the same movement that most refs do to stop a fight. And if you stop that fight there, like most people would have been like okay with it. This guy's getting outclassed.
I agree with that.
You know, and do you want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened after, like Lomachenko jumping on?
Yeah. So Lomachenko had Anthony Crolla against the ropes, and he took a series of right hooks. Jack Reese stepped in the middle of them. A lot of people, like you said, thought it was being called a TKO, right? A stoppage by the referee. But he was calling a knockdown because, according to his judgment, he was saying that the ropes kept Anthony Crolla up, which will be a knockdown if that's the case, right? Would you guys agree with that the ropes were keeping Anthony Crolla up?
I agree with that. I think it's just the movement, the way the ref moved in. Like, it was like a quick sweep him like, oh, I'm blocking this fighter from getting more punishment, because obviously Crolla wasn't throwing anything back, and usually that's when a ref calls it, when there's nothing coming back.
Yeah, but just thinking about it right now, I'm trying to think what could he have done different though, Jack Reese.
Yeah,
because he's trying to step in and say knockdown, right? So what are you supposed to do?
And I give him the benefit of the doubt just because he's Jack Reese.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the game.
However, Lomachenko thought it was over, right? By the way that Jack Reese stepped in the middle of them.
Dad, and also when the security people came in, they should have not been inside the ring.
I think they came in after Loma went to celebrate on the ropes.
I agree.
I think that was a big blunder by their part.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to be paying attention, right? And even myself in the arena, I saw the referee counting, and then I saw Lomachenko up on the ropes. So I'm like,
celebrating,
slow down. And then I see the commissioner, people from the commission, hopping in the ring as well. It was 2 guys in suits. And so I was like, whoa, what is going on here now?
We learned this from Anthony Sem. So one of his fights in October, somebody stepped in, the cameraman stepped in, and he got fired.
Oh,
because the fighter can actually prevent that. He can actually like have a say, like they intervene in the fight. So these security people could have done the same thing, and Crolla could have done just the same thing. So you gotta be careful.
Dude, I was one of those fans in attendance, like yelling at those guys, get out.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. What are you doing?
And you know what was funny? That Jack Reed did not notice them.
Oh yeah.
He was
when Tay
counting.
turned around.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
And
He's
when he
like,
turned
what the
around,
hell is this?
he's like, "Get out, get out!" I just hear him say, "Get out."
You
Yeah.
see them both get out at the same time. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And they
it was
left,
bad.
too.
It was bad.
Man.
It wasn't a good look because a lot of people were confused. A lot of people in the arena were
Yeah.
confused. I didn't go back and listen to the telecast on ESPN, but I don't know if they were confused or not. But
Yeah.
but people in the arena were confused.
Yeah, because I can see how Vasily thought the fight was over, like
Yeah.
the way he stepped in. But the security
Yeah.
guys, they had to keep their eye not on Vasily, but on the
Yes.
ref to see like, is
Yes.
it really over or not? They just saw him up there like, oh, it's over. They must have been like,
Yeah.
talking.
And they just faced him. They were, I don't know, they both faced Lomachenko. It was funny because they had the backs to the ref.
Yeah.
The ref had his back to them. So it was just big confusion going on in the ring. I saw the referee counting, so I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
over.
You don't see the
Yeah.
waving. You see the ref do the waving motion, or it's over. Then
Yeah.
that's when it's over.
But that was interesting. Crolla did survive that round, but he was stopped in the next round by Lomachenko. Same thing, that right hook.
It was like right on the temple.
Yeah, it was a big right hook.
Yeah, you sent me a video and you heard that the thudding.
Yeah, you hear
Boom.
the thump,
Boom.
and you just hear Crolla gasping for air. He just said, and then he just fell.
Yeah.
And it's always dangerous when they go head first into the canvas, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was out.
Well, I mean, it's dangerous too, but also follow up with his injury. He had a fracture in his head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That punch it was kind of similar to the punch that Triple G landed on Rubio, like on top of the
Yeah.
head.
And your
Like,
equilibrium, dude.
Yeah.
You can't get up. Those you
Yeah.
have to stay on the floor for a couple of seconds before you could get your feet up.
Yeah, and obviously the technique that Vasily has, like to land that
Man,
punch,
that was
dude.
beautiful. That clip that I sent you,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. Because
Yeah.
that's always a big weapon, right, for a southpaw, is that right hook.
Yeah.
You see it by Pacquiao a lot. And Loma kind of threw that like a throwaway straight left. He just showed it to him, came to the side with that right hook, and nobody's getting up from that.
Some of our buddies got some good angles, right? Some videos.
Yeah, yeah. We'll post some more clips. We're still, I'm still not sure how that YouTube copyright stuff works. So I try not to risk it, but hey.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, dude, but Vasily, man, still impressive. Honestly, like I really thought, like, he looked great. I'm gonna say I still feel like the injury is still there. Not a big injury, but it's still there. But so that's what I'm impressed with. That he can still function the way he did. I'm sure he had some pain when he was throwing some of those punches.
Yeah,
But-
and I mentioned before, not to cut you off, but I mentioned before the fight that he had said that in his previous fight against Jose Pedraza, he basically didn't use his right hand in training to try to let it recover.
Yeah.
So he knew he was going into that fight very limited, when it came to using that right hand. But it looked good in this fight.
Yeah.
And he did get an injury, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about it? I think it was his knuckle or something. That's what they were saying when he
Yeah.
got the knockout punch.
His middle knuckle got dislocated, so they just reattached it back. But for the people who actually were at the fight, like, what more can you ask, right? And for the people who actually saw the subscription, like, that's what you pay a subscription for, right? To see Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah.
But for my thing, as far as like the injury before the fight that we were concerned, a lot of people were questioning his motivation to face a mandatory fighter, whether or not he's able to
That's true.
take his time, reveal his skills later on. But at the same time, I give Lomachenko props because he gave everybody what everybody came to see, right? And even Eddie Hearn before the couple of days were questioning whether or not the fight was even going to sell out at all. And right, and you guys can speak for that to yourselves, right? How was the crowd?
There was a lot of people there.
It was a good turnout.
Good turnout.
I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and all the seats were
Mm.
taken.
Yeah.
So
And that's something we haven't seen in some of the other bouts we've gone to.
Yeah.
We see a lot of empty seats here and there, mostly because of lack of names
Right.
or maybe lack of, promotion. But, this one was a good size,
Yeah.
crowd in attendance, which is pretty cool.
So for Vasily right now, there's a name trying to prevent everything with the 135 division. That's Mikey Garcia. So what's probably next is probably Luke Campbell. There's a French guy in the WBC mandatory. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. But number 3 is Devin Haney. So everybody's trying to reach out whether Luke Campbell is going to face Lomachenko in England in September.
That would be a good fight. And that's a more credible opponent since he's more experienced. He's got some names, some experience in there with him. So that's more credible. The David Haney's the other we'll talk about some of the other
Teofimo
names.
was number 4.
Yeah, I just think they're too green. They're very good.
Yeah,
They're very good, and they are the future of boxing. But I just think right now they're just.
I agree.
It's not smart for them to get in there with him. It's not smart at all. Let him age a little bit, and
Maybe
Yeah.
we're in that era where let him have it.
oh no, I would love to see that
Let
fight.
him have it. Do you want to talk about it? Let him have him.
I would love to see that fight, but it's a business, and if you want to really maximize your pockets and be smart about it, then they would wait. But I would love to see those fights, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to see the best try to fight each other around their respective primes. It won't. It's not gonna happen because of the nature of boxing. When some are coming out, some are coming in. We would love to see them at close to that, but yeah. Again, it's a business, and it probably won't happen with David Haney's and Teofimo. If it does, I'd be very surprised, and I'll be the first one to say that. Okay, I was wrong. Damn, they made it happen. But yeah, if I was Teofimo's promoter, I wouldn't put him in there yet. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Gio?
I agree with that. Teofimo's obviously has been talking a lot, and it sounds like he wants to fight. But I think I agree with you. I think they're too green. I think give it time.
Yeah.
If it happens, hey, it happens. Either way, I'm good. All right. But speaking about the